the fragments allow for a really nuanced portrayal of sexuality and of discovering yourself. We're getting the fragments where those types of memories would stick out to a gay person more than they would stick out to someone else. Like the scene where they go into the basement and watch the weird video.
The weird video.
Yeah. Certainly that would affect a lot of young people, I'm sure, at a formative age. But I think, I can say as a gay person, there's certain memories that I have growing up that like just really stick with you. And I think that the fragment approach allows for this almost like kind of like aching suspicion or like aching feeling to build throughout the book, that it's not just that this narrator has this really tough life and has this really complicated family, but it's only going to get harder when he has to step into himself in this other way.
Welcome to The Stacks, a podcast about books and the people who read them. I'm your host, Tracy Thomas, and today is The Stacks Book Club Day. I am joined by Mikey Friedman, who is the creator of Page Break and is back to discuss our November book club pick with us, We the Animals by Justin Torres. This novel was published over 10 years before Justin Torres won the National Book Award for his novel Blackouts. It is his debut, and the book explores the lives of three mixed-race brothers in upstate New York trying to navigate the chaos and violence and tenderness within their household. Be sure to stay tuned to the end of today's episode to find out what our December book club pick will be. Everything we talk about on each episode of The Stacks is linked in the show notes. If you like The Stacks, if you want more bookish content and community, consider joining the Stacks Pack on Patreon and subscribing to my newsletter, Unstacked, on Substack. Each place offers different perks that range from community conversations to hot takes on pop culture, and of course, bonus episodes. Plus, your support makes it possible for me to make The Stacks every single week. So to join, head to patreon.com/thestacks for the Stacks Pack and go to tracythomas.substack.com for my newsletter. All right, now it is time for my conversation with spoilers with Mikey Friedman about We the Animals by Justin Torres. All right, everybody, it is the Stacks Book Club Day. I am so excited. I am joined now by friend of the pod, and you all know this, future partner, because we're going on retreat to Joshua Tree, January 23rd through the 25th. So make sure you sign up for that. I am joined by the man behind Page Break, Mikey Friedman. Mikey, welcome back to the Stacks.
Thanks, Tracy. Can't wait. Counting down the days till our retreat.
I wish I had a counter going. I don't, but soon, like 2 months.
It's going to be epic.
But today, you and I are talking about We the Animals by Justin Torres for the Stacks Book Club. Everybody listening at home, there will be spoilers. So please read the book. It's 125 pages. It is the fastest, little tiny, lovely novella novel ever. And you could probably read it and come back and listen before the day's out. So Mikey, we always start here. Just generally, top line, what did you think of the book?
Absolutely loved it. This is the exact kind of book that I like, and I'm so happy we've got to read it. I'm honestly alarmed that I haven't read it yet, now that I've read it.
Okay, here are my top line thoughts. Loved. Absolutely loved this book. I think after I finished it, I was talking to some people, and I go, I know that everybody loves this book, but I actually think it's underrated. Like, I don't think we're talking about it enough, even though I feel like everyone who's read it is like, it's great.
Totally. I know. I feel like because also Blackouts got so much praise too.
Yes.
That I agree. I think everyone who, even just like talking to people and posting like the story, even today, I've had like 10 people reply and say that is an all-time book for me.
It's an all-timer. I mean,
it's incredible.
It's so good. I felt like, maybe this is my problem, but I felt like people were like, oh yeah, it's good. And I felt like I needed more people to be like, it is. Oh,
like, get ready.
Yes.
Yeah, get ready. And the fact that it's so short.
So short.
And packs such an emotional punch, and like the restraint that it takes to be able to do that is beyond.
And it is a perfect book from the opening line. The first line of the book is, we wanted more. Bye. Justin Torres, you can have all my kids. You can have my house. Like, I'm done. I love it.
I'm here.
I love it. Okay. I'm glad we're on the same page, though I'm sort of sad we're on the same page because we're not going to get to fight about the book, but it's so
okay.
good.
I'm a lover.
I'm a fighter.
But this is like, but this, like, I felt so much reading this book.
I
which, like,
cried.
Yeah.
Early.
I'm like I'm on the subway, like.
Yeah. Oh no,
Yeah.
I like ugly cried and like texted my friend and was like, I'm a terrible mom. I like took it to therapy the next day. My therapist was like, how are you? I was like, I cried so hard last night. She's like, is everything okay? I was like,
oh my God.
No, there was a chapter about kids turning 7.
Just my book club weighing on my heart.
To be fair to my emotions, I have, as you know, twin boys who will be 6 in December. So I think the 7 chapter really took it out of me because I'm not ready to guard my heart against my children. I'm not ready for them to punch me in my already black eye. Like,
totally.
I'm not ready for that. And it just broke me.
I also think, like, the way I agree from the beginning, you're like instantly empathetic to all the characters.
Yes.
In a way that's like, I think takes 100 pages to get to in a lot of books.
Yeah.
But you can immediately see the stakes and also like you can feel every character and like I think Justin writes like from a child perspective in a really remarkable way. Like the way you're sort of feeling your loss of innocence and seeing your parents, and the same way the mother is sort of seeing her children. It's really,
okay.
Incredible.
Let's start with just, since we're here, just the shortness of the book. Like we said, it's 125 pages. I basically never say this. I could have read 600 more pages of this book.
Same. I wish it was longer.
I wish it was 1,000-page book. Like, because the way that it is so like vignette-ish, the vignettes happening, it's like right as you would get comfortable, you're on to the next thing.
It's so true.
It would I know they made it into a movie, but it would make a great TV show.
Oh, they did? I have to see the movie.
I haven't seen it either. I didn't want to see it.
Well, I agree. And that's kind of what I was saying. Like, at the restraint to be able to do that and not fill in the gaps for us and spoon feed us what happens next in their life. Like, you get these mile markers, right? Like, they turn 7 and then later, they've like aged older towards the brilliant, shocking end of this book.
Yeah.
And so it has these mile markers, but it's not spoon fed to us. And I think that's just like trusting the reader. And I wanted every scene to last a little bit longer. And I wanted to know like what was going to happen immediately after that.
Yes. What had happened right before? What was going to happen after? And I think to your point, like, yes, the restraint is so good. And also he does such a good job of telling you everything you need to know about a character in one sentence.
Yes.
Like the first scene we have with Ma is on page 5. And I took a note because I was like, this is insane. But he says like, she would wake randomly, mixed up, mistaking one day for another, 1 hour for the next, order us to brush our teeth and get into PJs and lie in bed in the middle of the day. Or when we came into the kitchen in the morning, half asleep, she'd be pulling a meatloaf out of the oven saying, what is wrong with you boys? I've been calling and calling for dinner. We had to learn not to correct her or to try to pull her out of the confusion. It only made things worse. And it's like instantly you get a picture of this woman who is just like out of her depth, out of control. And like, you also know exactly how they feel about her.
Exactly.
And it's like, that's 5 sentences.
5 sentences. And exactly, it places you in the environment of the house.
Yes.
So clearly, because you're understanding from both characters' perspectives. And like you're saying, such a short amount of time.
And like the chaos, the smell of the meatloaf, just like the uncertainty and the way that he flips, like the kids are taking care of the mom. Like there's so much just in those sentences where I felt like I know exactly who this woman is. I know exactly what this life is. And I am feeling all the tension and the anxiety of being a small person in a world that is so uncertain.
Totally. I also think it's like, I want to talk about how it's like a visceral novel and like you feel and hear things. But I think it's like what you're describing is like almost an ability to create visual image. I can imagine this book so clearly.
Yes.
But it's not written in a way that's so colorful and like kind of obnoxious.
Like, he doesn't describe the kitchen. He's not like, Mom pulled the meatloaf out of our pink tiled kitchen. You know, we have so many loose doorknobs. Like, it's like, I don't need that. I already can see this hideous kitchen with loose doorknobs.
It's like, which is so refreshing because I think there is a lot of very poetic books like this that lean on really, you know, like limited prose to try to tell a story in a really like affecting way. But it doesn't deliver on this like visual. It doesn't deliver as visually as this did, which is like, I think such like a magical art that he's able to do that. Yeah.
And the opposite is also true. There's so many novels that spend so much time trying to paint the picture of the scene. You get like 50 pages about the kitchen.
Yep.
And then it's like, Mom pulled a meatloaf out. It was 11 p.m. And it's like, I just spent so much time with you describing the curtain and when the family bought the house and blah, blah, blah. And then just nothing happens. And I think something that came up last month in Frankenstein, which we're actually going to talk about Frankenstein a little bit later today on this episode. But in the Stacks Pack book club that we did after the episode aired, like through the Patreon, someone said to me, why did you like Frankenstein so much? Like, not a lot happens and there's like a lot of description, because I famously don't like books where things don't happen. Yeah. And I realized in reading this and also thinking more about Frankenstein, it's that I don't care if nothing happens. I don't care if the book is just like a bunch of character study, you know, this is just a day in the life type book. But what I do need in a book is that when people are together, stakes are high, everybody wants something, and everybody believes they're right. And I feel like in this book, we get that. It's like Mom believes it is dinner time.
Yeah.
And Mom wants the boys to come inside. And she's fired up about the fact that the boys, like, where are you guys? And the kids are like, Mom's fucking nuts. We don't know what's going on. She gets like this, and it's our job to protect her. And it's like, nothing does really happen in this book until the very end. Technically. But so much happens because there's so much interaction between people. So I don't need the kitchen if I have these moments.
Totally. And the stakes are so high. Like,
so
I think the tension in this book is, you can feel it in every scene.
Yes.
And then when something does happen at the end, it's like, I was like so locked in. It was like, here we go, because you're already feeling that tension build. But I totally agree. I was curious what you know, knowing your stance on like kind of like vibes novels or vibes books. I was curious your thoughts, but exactly like you're saying, like, the relationship between them is what happens.
Right. This is a vibes book, but I would never describe this as a vibes book. Like, I think technically it is. Like, this is, you know, it's just like, it's like the past or whatever.
Especially because it's fragments too. So it's not like, it's not building plot in that traditional way. Like, you're getting these little scenes and fragments. So
There's really no plot in this book. Like, it's just like, it's just coming of age, which I guess is its own sort of plot trope. But you know, it's you realize it's been moving towards this thing when you get to the end, but the whole time it's just a bunch of scenes. But I just love a scene. I just want a high stakes interaction between people. And we've been talking about Ma a lot, but Paps is the highest stakes of human beings on the face of the earth. I mean, he is a force.
He's the maker of the most terrifying parts of this book, but also the most tender and touching scenes.
And similarly, you know, I think the first thing he says about Pops, I was like, oh, I know exactly like who this person is, right? Like, it's like, and I think it's early. It's literally in the first chapter. He's talking about how he and his brothers fought with stuff. And then he says, and when our Pops came home, we got spankings. And it's like, that's all you needed. I literally know exactly what that is. I know who your dad is. I know what kind of kids you are. I know what that vibe is like. You hear the shoes when dad walks in the house. Like, that whole thing in one sentence.
I'm also, that's reminding me, like, talk about like the use of we in this too. I'm sure that's on your list.
Let's do it.
Come back. Well, we just come back to it, but you made me think of something for Pops. What was it? Just that the writing in this is really direct around things like abuse. Yeah. And it pulls no, I was gonna say pulls no punches, but it's like very
a little on the nose.
Sorry. Very, very direct and unrestrained. in some places that's really hard to read and really like chilling. But then there's these moments where I was so curious about that Justin doesn't give us. Like the sex scene at the very end, like sort of making me and like losing it. Like just to be able to not give us some of those details and like leave that out. Like I think that's what when I think about restraint, it's like knowing when to use it. It's not just that this book is like pulled back and restrained for the sake of it to try to prevent us from figuring things out. It's like the thoughtful choices of when to do it and for what scenes.
I feel like when you read a book and you feel like taken care of by the author, I feel like that is this book. It's like Justin Torres has such a clarity of story that he wants to tell us. And it feels so clear that he knows what he's doing, that he's a competent guide into this world, that he knows exactly when to pull back and when to give a little more and when to lean into the funny and when to lean into the like brutal. And the balance is, I mean, it's extraordinary. It's extraordinary that this is a debut novel also.
Totally. Yeah. I had to do a little research to like learn about, but I think in an interview he said 5 or 6 years on this 120 pages, which speaks to this level of care and the level of like every word is thoughtfully selected and it shows in how the sentence structure fits together and how it flows. And after our last chat, you were like, oh, do you read out loud? Because we read aloud on our retreats. I was like, I'm going to read parts of this book out loud. Yeah, I did. And it's like this, what a joy to be able to read this kind of language out loud, right? Like every single word matters.
It matters. I actually didn't read this out loud because I was on an airplane, but airplane reading is some of my best, most like emotional, just like in my feels. Though I did 100%. Read the first few chapters at home on my couch crying, and then I got on an airplane. So I didn't cry on the airplane. I cried at home on my couch.
I love an airplane cry, like coming home from vacation, reading a sad book, watching a sad movie.
So good. Let's talk about the writing style. So I always ask the Stacks Pack, what are things you want us to talk about on the episode? And someone brought up that they didn't read about the book at all. They weren't really paying attention. They read it on their e-reader, so they didn't even really look at the cover. And they thought it was a memoir.
Yeah.
And I thought that was really interesting because I just didn't go in with that mindset at all. But it totally could be because it's written, again, so clear, such economy of language.
Yeah.
And like the sceniness of it.
And it feels like there's so much truth in it in the way that the characters operate with. Like it's so open in a lot of ways that it feels like it feels like it's a real thing, right? It feels like it would be hard for someone to make up that level of truth.
Right. Right. And because he gives us so little about each person, but it feels like so much, it's like Justin Torres knows these people, obviously. Like these are people these are his brothers, these are his parents, because it feels so real and so rich and deep. And then you're like, wait, this is fiction. And I know people say it's auto fiction or whatever, but I read some essay or some interview from him and he was like, this is not actually my family.
Yeah. But he has like siblings.
He has siblings. He is Puerto Rican. And like, I think the framework of the novel fits his life, but he was like, these things didn't happen to me. Let's talk about the use of we. What did you want to say about that?
I wanted to say that it's really hard to do that too. Like to be able to give us so much personal depth from the narrator by not using I.
Yeah, he uses it pretty sparingly.
Until the end. I guess he uses it.
He uses it in a few scenes. Like he uses it in this scene, this scene in this scene in 7. But that's because the brothers have left and he's alone with the mom before he is brutal to her and makes me cry. So he does use it, but mostly he uses we and you know, the title is We the Animals, like
exactly.
And
I think the thing that stuck out to me was that late at the end of the book, it's no longer we.
Yeah.
Which I think is like, that's such a genius use of form to fit the story because we're allowed to do spoilers. So but by the end of the book, he's no longer in the pack of animals with his brothers, right? He's othered in that scene that I can see so vividly of them in the snowstorm. and then it's no longer we, it's they did this, they acted this way. He has these really, descriptive portrayals of his brothers, but it's they.
Yeah.
And then he, runs away, and now it's I. So I think that use of
right.
prose,
And he says at the end, like, I lost my pack or something, right?
Yeah, exactly.
These days I've lost my pack. I think also, like, at first when I read the book, or when I started the book and I was looking at the cover, and there's, the three, I have the cover with the three boys jumping.
Yeah.
And I had thought that the we was the three brothers, but I realized that I think for me, like, the we is actually the whole family, like that they're all five.
Yeah.
And I think that became more clear to me in that final scene when it's like the four of them, trying to first kind of expose him and then protect him.
Yeah.
And that shift is like really powerful of like, it's not just the brothers, it's the whole thing. It's the whole world they've created.
And I think building on that, it's like the idea of escape in this book
comes up so much.
The dad, Pop's basically saying like, we're not going to be able to ever escape this. And reflecting on the book as a whole, I'm thinking like, animals, and especially the last piece, it's like in the zoo, and like this notion of like escaping from captivity,
right?
Isn't just about the brothers, right? It's also about Pops and Ma, certainly. Like that scene where she basically is like, I was gonna, should we just leave and never come back?
Should we leave? Yeah. What do you guys think?
Yeah. And they were like, and then it's like, oh, we're pulling up back to home. It's like,
yeah. But it's like, there's a part where Manny, the oldest brother, talks about wanting to leave. Then the mom wants to leave the dad wants to leave the world, but none of them end up leaving. And then it ends up being our unnamed narrator who is the one who like gets out, but it is like the most forceful, brutal sort of like launching out into the world.
Right. And its own form of captivity.
Yeah. And it's not, he doesn't leave. He gets kicked out in a lot of ways, right? Like
True.
They eject him from the world. And I think like the ending for me, it mirrors that really well. I want to talk about the ending, but it mirrors for me this scene really early in the book. It's called Never Never Time. So this is like sort of that first real scene we get with Ma, and they're like mashing ketchup and tomatoes.
Yeah.
And the mom's like, this is like when you were born. And she says like, do it to me. And they say, what? And she says, make me born. And Manny says, we're out of tomatoes. Use ketchup. And so then they're like, Mom, close your eyes, whatever. And then it says, and the mallet swung through the air. Our mother yelped and slid to the floor and stayed there, her eyes wide open and ketchup everywhere, looking like she had been shot in the back of the head. It's a mom, we screamed. Congratulations. We ran to the cupboards and pulled out the biggest pots and heaviest ladles and clanged them as loud as we could, dancing around our mother's body, shouting, happy birthday, happy new year. It's 0 o'clock. It's never, never time. It's the time of your life. And first of all, I loved it because it was giving Frankenstein vibes for me. Born. Everything is Frankenstein. I feel like every episode for the rest of the year, I'm going to tie back to Frankenstein. So far I am 10 for 10. But I felt like it mirrors this birth ejection of our narrator at the end, because he too is sort of like the other person on the other end of the family and ejected out into the world. And it sort of has that same forceful energy as like a birth, right? Like they're like, it's like so physical. And I just couldn't help but feel like, even though the ending is so different, which we should talk about next, it is still really rooted in who these people are. And it feels so of the piece. Before we go to the ending, let's take a quick, you say what you're going to say, then I'm going to break us, then we'll do ending.
I think that's just, that scene is also emblematic of how audio somehow plays, like you can hear this book.
Yes.
Like the volume is turned up in so many of these scenes.
Yes.
Either through being so quiet and tender that you can feel how hauntingly quiet it is. But then the fact that the brothers are running around, howling, screaming, banging, like shooting things, like throwing things. Like it's such a accomplishment to be able to do that too.
It's like such a sensory book.
Sensory book. Exactly.
I feel like that's right. Okay, let's take a quick break and then we're going to come back and we're going to do the ending. Valentine's Day is upon us and I've got love on the brain. Love for books. Duh, of course. Hello. Did you forget what podcast you're listening to? I love bringing you all great reads, exclusive author interviews, and behind the scenes book gossip. But I can only do that with your support over on Patreon and Substack. Our Stacks Patreon community, also known as the Stacks Pack, is where you can go for book club meetups, a private, very active Discord, and a year-long mega reading challenge to help you achieve all your reading goals. Plus, you also get that monthly bonus episode. Now, over on the Substack, you can subscribe to my newsletter, Unstacked, where I keep the book conversations going. I also give you a healthy dose of sports and pop culture, definitely some hot takes happening over there. And again, that bonus episode. If you don't have a few dollars to spare, don't worry. There are free options on the Substack and the Patreon to get you a little extra Stacks magic. Making this podcast is a total team effort, and by supporting my Patreon and my Substack, you allow me to support my amazing team that makes the show possible every single week. So if you or your friends are looking to meet other book lovers and support this indie podcast, come hang out with me on Patreon, Substack, or both. I would love to have you. And since we're talking about love, you can gift subscriptions to the Patreon and the Substack for that special reader in your life. For the Stacks Pack, head to patreon.com/thestacks. And for the newsletter, head to tracythomas.substack.com. And also, there are links to both in the show notes. Okay, see you in the Stacks. Okay, we are back. There are other things I want to do, but I do think we should do the ending so we can come back to some of the other stuff. So every chapter is basically super duper short. Then we get to this final scene. This chapter is called The Night I Am Made. And it's like a bunch of parts. It's like three parts.
Three parts.
Nighttime, midnight, late night, and deep night. And dawn.
Yeah. And dawn.
Do you want to tell the people what happens in this section?
Yeah, The Night I Made. So this is the beginning of the end with the brothers. It starts off with our unnamed narrator falling out with his brothers. They tease him horribly for what they suspect is him being gay, and the narrator later describes the feeling that they could like smell it on him, that they've like come to sort of see him as other and different from them. And this is where that shift in language happens too, right? It starts with they grew up wiry, long torsoed, and lean, and it's no longer we. And our narrator runs off after like a brutal fight with his brothers and goes to cruise the bathrooms at the bus station, where he is made for the first time, aka has his virginity.
And he's been going to the bus station and like just kind of observing for scouting, a while.
Yeah, feeling it out, scouting.
But this is the first time he really goes and does it with like a trucker.
With a trucker in the truck, not in the bathrooms. Yeah. And just I can just keep moving to the next the next chapter. He walks home and gets home at dawn, and his entire family is sitting in the living room, and his mom has his journal on her lap, and inside this journal, our narrator's written all these gay fantasies, both innocent and not, and very like shocking personal entries into his diary. And he knows immediately that not only has she read it and knows the truth about him, but his entire family has. And it's like this whole scene for me happens in like slow motion. And I think it's written in this way too, right? It's like you know what's happening, but I have to like read every sentence twice. Like every sentence, it just like is like a slow motion montage. And the father kind of lurches out to hit him, and the brothers restrain the father. And it's like this like slow motion scene where the narrator says, you know, but the brothers are both restraining him, but at the same time holding him up, which is, I think, speaks to the complexity of this scene and the feelings. And then finally, after temperatures decrease, right?
Well, after the thing, he sort of had like freaks out. He says he was behaving like an animal. So they're like restraining him. After they're holding up the father, he starts hitting himself. He starts tearing at them, scratching at them like a wild animal that's in captivity. He's like trying to get out, get away. The shame, all of it, the betrayal is just like physically manifesting in him.
Yeah, it's a complete break. And I said, and did animal unforgivable things, is like this last line of the section. What else but to take me to the zoo? And before he's taken to the zoo and sort of exiled by his family to, I assume, a psychiatric ward, right?
Yeah.
There's this really tender scene with Pops and the bathtub. And I was a little unclear in this one, like that happened right after that moment.
I think it happened after they subdued him before they took him to the psych ward. Yeah.
Right. Okay. Because they were like talking about how, you know, the narrator like smelled and hadn't like washed in days. And so I was unclear if that had been like from him living on the streets separately from that. But no, I think you're right. I think it happened right after that. But essentially this like final moment of care where Pops is hand washing the narrator and his son in the bathtub, fully clothed and then unclothed. And Ma is sort of outside the bathroom coming in. And it's just like this really heartbreaking moment of final care. And then we get to the final page of the book, which is zookeeping. I mean, should we just read the whole thing? It's so short.
Yeah.
It's like 2 sentences. These days, I sleep with peacocks, lions on a bed of leaves. I've lost my pack. I dream of standing upright, of uncurled knuckles, of a simpler life. No hot muzzles, no fangs, no claws, no obscene plumage, strolling gaily with an upright air. I sleep with other animals in cages and in dens, down rabbit holes on tufts of hay. They adorn me, these animals, lay me down, paw me, own me, crown me prince of their rank jungles. Upright, upright, I say. I slur, I vow. I was like, yeah, I sort of interpret this as certainly he's in the zoo, right? Mm-hmm. In captivity, but is it that this slight glimmer of optimism of like vowing to persist, right? Like vowing to be upright.
Yeah, I think that I sort of took it as like he's been in this sort of rural world of chaos and all these things. And I feel like for him, I sort of envision him as like an adult at this point, like in New York City, right? Just like being... I took it to mean like, so we, the animals, is like, we think it's their family. We think it's the brothers and we think it's their family. And then I sort of took it to mean that like, maybe he is an animal, air quotes, like as a gay man with other gay men. And so now he's being observed by everyone else and sort of like otherized, and they're enjoying each other and like having their own zoo. But it's like a zoo or like a world of animals that he chose to be in, like his own animals, as opposed to the animals he was born into. Like that he found, that he actually found
his new pack,
or like his world.
Interesting. Yeah. And
but it is unclear. I mean, it's the only part of the whole book that's not like, this is what happened.
Right. Well, it's like, one way I think to read it is that it's like literally still in captivity of the zoo,
like at the psych ward still. Sure. And
hoping that he may like behave in an upright way in the future. But I like there's another interpretation too, which is like this is further in the future, and it's like a larger message about how we're all animals and you have to sort of find your type of animal.
Yeah. Or like your ecosystem. Maybe you're a forest animal, a woodland creature, or a desert snake or something. Yes. I mean, I think like the way that his sexuality is sort of slowly drawn through the book. I obviously am familiar with who Justin Torres is. And I know that Blackouts is about like gay men. And so I went in assuming that this book was going to be about like a gay kid. Yeah. And it is, but it is not what I thought it was going to be.
Same. Completely same.
I was like, oh, like maybe he's not like maybe he's not like a gay kid. And then there's like all these little moments, these glimpses of him, you know, kind of stepping into his own self. I mean, there's the moment where the dad like calls him pretty or whatever. And then there's, sorry, go ahead.
No, completely. I mean, that's what I think is a really smart way the fragments allow for a really nuanced portrayal of sexuality and of discovering yourself for that reason, because we're getting the fragments where those types of memories would stick out to a gay person more than they would stick out to someone else. Like the scene where they go into the basement and watch the weird video.
The weird video.
Yeah.
I was like, is that a home video or?
I know. Right. I mean, I think that's what we're left to ask. But it's like, certainly that would affect a lot of young people, I'm sure at a formative age. But I think, I can say as a gay person, there's certain memories that I have growing up that like just really stick with you. And I think that the fragment approach allows for this almost like kind of like aching suspicion or like aching feeling to build throughout the book, that it's not just that this narrator has this really tough life and has this really complicated family, but it's only going to get harder when he has to step into himself in this other way. So I just think that whole thing was so brilliantly done, because then the ending is so focused on that. It all comes to a T.
Right.
All your sort of building suspicions from these fragments is then confirmed and then tipped the entire other way.
And also, I mean, I think what's really well done in this book, especially when we think about like coming out stories, because in a lot of ways, this book is also a coming out story, right? Or like an outing story. Yeah. And I feel like so often the trope is either it's like this really tragic sort of like weeping in the corner, suicidal, whatever. And I felt like what was really interesting about how he did this is it's still a very kind of painful coming out story, but the fire behind it felt so different than how we're told a traumatic coming out would be. Usually we're told like, I was so sad, I was cutting myself, or like nobody liked me, nobody wanted to be my friend. But it's like he's never really alone, even in all of this. Like he's never really passive. And it's also tied to these descriptions of his mom talking about how capable he is, how smart he is. He's embarrassed for his brothers because they're not as good, as smart, as whatever as him. And I liked the coupling of this like inner turmoil and this pull and this feeling of being different and other, and even the rage and the shame of the actual moment when he realizes, coupled with he's capable. He is almost in control of this. She says he's capable of destroying anything, including himself, right? And so it feels like almost empowering in some ways. I don't know if you felt that at all.
I definitely did. I felt like that description towards the end of the book of the mother describing the narrator felt so true to like when a mother knows, she knows.
Yes.
Kind of like, right? She's pointing out, oh, there's something special about him. Yeah. And I think that is an element that is, I think, really true between a gay man and his mother a lot of times. And so that feels really honest. But what I agree with, like, overall, what you're saying is empowering. What I find empowering about this portrayal is that the entire story and character is not only defined by their queerness, and gayness, and like that. To your point, entering into a book with some of the, like, just knowing the high level about Justin or knowing the high level about the book, you could almost expect that, oh, this is a gay coming of age novel, so this is what it's going to really wrestle with,
right?
And it is, but it's not only that. And I think like that is something queer people always grapple with and always have to try to deal with, is like, it's not the stereotypical gay thing just because.
And it's not focused on his sexuality from a young age, which I also appreciated, because I feel like regardless of sexuality, most children are not concerned with sexuality at 7.
Totally.
Like they're not thinking about.
They want food.
Yeah. And like they want to play with their brothers or whatever. And so the way that it sort of slowly emerges, like even the scene between the parents in the bathroom where they're like getting frisky and he's noticing and like understanding that this is like something that's making him feel and think things. It has nothing to do with his sexuality, and yet has everything to do with his sexuality.
Totally.
But I feel like that is such like an almost universal thing for kids, like seeing your parents have a sexual desire or seeing the adults in your life have that. that is like an awakening in a lot of ways, regardless of
Totally.
what happens to you and your sexual life, whether you become polyamorous or become asexual. Like, it's not something that
Totally.
you forget.
Yeah.
And so I felt like he touches on these big touchstone moments without showing his hand as like,
Yes.
this is a queer story.
Right. And literally every chapter of this book has some kind of lasting, shaping impact on this character.
Yeah.
Like, and I think even that, just like as you're reading it, after every single chapter break, I'm like, wow, okay, this is like, notes are taken as far as like the reader, but also like this is just such impactful scene after impactful scene that the collectiveness of that, like when you add those scenes up, you really see this like loss of innocence and this growing up. There could have been a whole, like the second third of this whole book, there was like a big jump, right?
Yeah.
When he's older. I can't believe we didn't get the gap.
Yeah. I mean, another moment like this that again is a Frankenstein moment is the swimming scene at the lake.
Yes.
Where the dad, and this goes into a thing that I really want to talk about, which is like how good this book is at showing how ill-equipped most adults are to becoming parents. I feel like it really tapped into a lot of my feelings about being a mom, even though like I wasn't 17 when I had my third, or 18 when I had my third child. But like this sense of you are a person who is trying to live a robust life, and also you're responsible for these other people and you don't know what the fuck you're doing. And like in this scene, the dad, the older brothers are swimming at the lake. The mom and the dad and our narrator are there. The mom and the narrator can't swim. And the dad's like, I'm going to teach you.
Hold on.
Yeah. And he like basically just dumps him in the water and is like, sink or swim. And the mom freaks out and starts basically climbing her way over the narrator, is like drowning the narrator essentially to get to safety. And the narrator, he says, I sank down for a long time, disoriented and writhing. And then suddenly I was swimming, kicking my legs and spreading my arms, just like Pops had shown me long before, and rising up to the light and exploding into air. And then that first breath, sucking air all the way down into my lungs. And when I looked up, the sky had never been so vaulted, so sparkling and magnificent. And then he jumps ahead. He says, they had never been so happy to see me. They had never looked at me with such intensity and hope. They had never before spoken my name so softly. I remembered how Ma burst into tears and Pop celebrated, shouting as if he was a mad scientist and I a marvel of his creation. He's alive. He's alive. He's alive.
Nice.
Frankenstein.
Also, that is such a vivid scene, but also like, what a beautiful and heartbreaking first moment to feel wanted by your parents. Right.
And like, to feel independent. He did it on his own.
And to feel that your parents are proud of you. To me, that was like, oh, this is the first time in this kid's life that his parents have ever been proud of him, which is so heartbreaking.
Well, it's the first time he's felt like his parents are proud of him.
He's felt
because he's like an unreliable narrator. I'm sure if you asked Ma, she would say she was proud of him at other times, but it's the first time he feels that.
Right. And because we're only getting the fragments, I'm reading every chapter as if it has like landmark firsts.
I think that's
of this coming of age. And I think that scene also has elements of what the whole book has, which is the visceral, animalistic quality. Yeah. In this case with Ma, right? Ma is doing fight or flight, animal, violent things, really, like basically drowning her own son, out of her own alarm and like for in service of her own safety and survival, which is like such an animalistic thing, right?
Yeah, and it's like not what she's supposed to do. She's supposed to save her kid,
right? Totally.
And I think again that just points to this like adults. They might be parents, but also they are their own full human with their own wants and desires. And like she wants to live and swim bad enough to do anything she can do, right? And even though she probably shouldn't, and if it was her book, we'd be hearing from her saying how like I feel so much, shame around what I did. But there's just so many scenes. I think that's the other thing that I have a lot of notes around is how huge a part, how much shame is a huge part of this story. Like shame within the walls of the family, you know, the brothers not wanting to look at him after they are shown the gay porn scene, right? Like them realizing what their brother is, right? And like the narrator says he feels embarrassed of his potential and he's feeling pity towards his brothers. And obviously, I mean, the big dick truck stuff with Pops and like not having a job and having to rely on his wife. And then Ma being in a relationship with a man that beats her up and gives her black eyes. And like, there's just so much, I think maybe like a dichotomy between shame and desire in this book that just plays so beautifully together and is almost presented without judgment, which I think is extremely hard to do.
Totally. Yeah, you feel the shame from each of the characters in these scenes, but it's not in like an exploitative way.
Because it's not really named.
Right.
Like he doesn't have the capacity to name it oftentimes. Like in the big dick truck scene, he doesn't really know what he's seeing. He's just relaying information. And we're able to, with our big adult brains, to project shame or pity or whatever. But at the time, he can't do it. It's not till that last scene when he really says, like, I'm embarrassed about my brothers.
Totally. Yeah. And it's like, that's writing from the younger child's perspective. It forces you as the reader to reckon with the very adult implications of what's happening. Right. Yeah. So like you, as an adult reading it, you're imbuing what you think the parents should or shouldn't be doing, or you read in like what you would or wouldn't be doing in the world of these kids. It's so good. It's so good. Yeah. It's not judgy because the kid, like you said, can't see that.
Right. And he doesn't have anything to compare it to. This is his life.
Right.
Right. And it feels pretty insular. Like we don't really hear much about going to school. We don't hear much about outside influences. And so, you know, whether or not they're doing those things, it's not that important. But
what is the dad? We don't really know. I guess the dad's like a security guard, but then they go on this trip to Buffalo or to Niagara Falls, right?
Yeah.
He's
for
like
him to like pick something up.
Yeah, exactly. There's a lot of stuff like that that's like left unknown also. Or like, I don't really know. There's something with Ma in the factory. Oh, Ma is
she's at the brewery. She works at a brewery.
She's at a brewery and she's like in a sexual relationship with her coworker, or is that just like a tender kiss on the lips? There's like,
I don't know. Yeah, the lady who comes by.
The lady who comes. So there's like, again, all these things that could have been entire chapters of a normal layperson book. But now that we're reading this like insanely beautifully constructed, restrained book, we don't get. But it's like there's so many things like that too.
And he just trusts the reader so much. He's like, I don't know, you guys will figure it out.
Read
and like
into
it doesn't
what
matter. It doesn't matter if the mom's in a relationship or if it's just a tender kiss. Like all that matters is that these kids saw their mom kiss a lady. You know, like that's it. And again, in your like theory of each of these scenes being a formative moment, that's not a nothing moment for a kid. Especially a kid who's maybe exploring their sexuality.
And I think maybe what is smart about that is it forces. Then you get into this habit with yourself as the reader, which is like, oh, maybe why do I want to know or do I want to care?
Yeah.
Like what judgment am I bringing to some of these scenes?
Right.
As I try to be the adult reader in a story told through a kid's eyes.
Right. I think the last thing I want to make sure we talk about that we really haven't talked about at all, but is very important to this book and I really appreciated was the racial dynamics of the book. So the dad in this book is Puerto Rican. He is not white Puerto Rican. We don't know exactly what he looks like. We know he has like a little bit of an afro. We know he's brown. And the mom is a white girl from New York. And she's 14 when she gets pregnant. And he's 16.
He's 16, yeah.
And they go to Texas and they get married. And there's a scene very early in the book. In my copy, it's on page 10, where the dad is playing music. And he's like saying like, you know, shake it like you're white, shake it like you're Puerto Rican, shake it like you're poor, shake it like you're rich, and like telling the boys to dance. And then he's like, you know, you're none of those things. You can't dance. This is how you dance. This is your heritage, he said, as if from his dance we could know about his own childhood, about the flavor and grit of tenement buildings in Spanish Harlem and the projects in Red Hook and dance halls and city parks, and about his own pops, how he beat him, how he taught him to dance, as if we could hear Spanish in the movements, as if Puerto Rico was a man in a bathrobe grabbing another beer from the fridge and raising it to drink his head back, still dancing, still stepping, and snapping perfectly in time. I love this scene so much. As
Same.
I mean, the dad calls them mutts. He says, mutts, he said, you ain't white and you ain't Puerto Rican. Watch how a purebred dances. Watch how we move in the ghetto. I love this scene so much. As myself a mutt, famously, it is so spot on to what it is like to be a mixed kid, like at a young age, when your parents sort of like mockingly know who and what you are, but the world hasn't really gotten a hold of you yet. Like, you are not fully aware of what it means, what the implications are of your existence. And also the understanding like that your parents are different from one another and also different from you. It's such a perfect scene. I was like smiling ear to ear reading this scene.
Totally.
I just loved it.
Yeah, and like you said, because we don't see the siblings outside of the context of the home with other people that much.
Yeah.
I can imagine an even more exacerbated, those feelings are even more strong in that comparison because you don't have other role models or other people to compare yourself to, right?
Right. Yeah. I feel like the thing about the book is he renders so much so beautifully, but barely any of it is actually on the page. Like all the things you think about and feel as you're reading this book and all the thoughts and just everything that comes up, none of it's on the page. He's not like, we felt shame, or like, this is what it's like to be mixed, or I'm gay now. Like none of that
Right.
happens. But you're thinking as a reader about all of these things and the intersections of all of these things. And he really has captured, sort of like in a great movie. Like, for example, in Moonlight, the movie Moonlight, there's not a lot of like, I'm gay. Am I
Totally.
gay? But like, it is beautiful and you feel it and all of those things are there. But Barry Jenkins isn't like, let's talk. Are we vibing right now? Should we make
Right.
out? Like, I don't know. I just love when an artist is like, I am so clear on what I want to do. You're either going to come with me or you're not. Because most of the time when an artist has that level of confidence and clarity, it translates.
Totally. I completely agree. And I still think there's something in this book for literally everyone because it's about growing up and the loss of innocence and how you exist in the world with your family. And maybe if you're queer or if you're of a mixed race background or other things, you might get certain scenes might hit more than others. But, Justin Torres has just opened the door for you to see like humans and animals, I guess, but humans and like how we exist in the world.
Well, humans as animals. We are animals.
Humans as animals. Exactly.
It's like we forget that at the core, we are animals. We the animals.
We the animals.
Is there anything else you want to say about this book before we get out of here? We are sort of at the end of time.
I think we killed it. I'm just looking at my notes. I have in all capital letters, fragments.
Yeah.
Restraint.
My notes are a little chaotic for this one, too.
Sensory book. I mean, I really just think the sounds, the language, the individual words, how they fit together. It's such a joy to read in that sense. Like,
it really is. It's a joy to read. This book is just, it's an absolute, it's such a feat. I don't know. I'm almost scared to read Blackouts because I'm almost like, there's no way I could like it this much.
Totally. Someone who I talked to about it who's read both, they said We the Animals by far their favorite compared to Blackouts. What I do think is cool about Blackouts too, though, is similarly, it's about, it's redactions, right?
Yeah.
In the text.
Yeah.
So that's like almost a physical prose manifestation of what we're talking about, which is like leaving things out for the reader to then fill in the gaps, which I think plays on the lost history of queer people and gay men. So I think that is a compelling idea. But I'm excited to read.
I'm excited to read it.
I'll read anything.
I'm locked in. I mean, he's gonna have to write 20 bad books for me to be like, okay, I'm done with Justin Torres. Like, it's a new all timer for me.
Same.
On this podcast, we do a lot of book club picks. It is extremely rare that I have 2 back-to-back book club picks that I just think are spectacular 5-star reads. And that is what happened between Frankenstein and this. Like, I'm just like, our December book club pick, you'll have to listen to the end of the episode to find out what it is. I don't know that I'm going to love it this much, but I got to say,
who knows?
It is an all-time classic nonfiction book that I've never read. So it might be, I might get a three-way, three in a row.
Trifecta.
Three-peat. That's what we say.
Three-peat. That's what it is. Yeah. I'm manifesting that for you, and I'm so happy we chose this book. Thank you for
me too. This was
inviting
perfect.
me to read this book with you. Yeah.
And everybody listening, don't forget, if you haven't yet, go check out the Page Break website. What's your website? Pagebreak.nyc.
Pagebreak.nyc. Yeah. Pagebreak.nyc on the web. It's both, actually. Pagebreak.nyc on the web or on Instagram. And stay tuned. I think we're going to breadcrumb them and tell them the dates right now.
Okay. So if you made it to the end of this episode, we are going to breadcrumb the dates of our Stacks Break retreat, which is happening in Joshua Tree. I said it at the beginning of the episode, but I'm going to say it again in case you weren't paying attention, because twice is better than once. We're going to be in Joshua Tree January 23rd through the 25th. You're listening to this November 26th. You're going to be able to sign up first week of December. So get yourself together. This is a perfect thing to put on your holiday wish list.
Absolutely. It's going to be so major in Joshua Tree. First Page Break ever outside of New York. First ever collab with the Stacks.
Duh.
It's going to be iconic.
It's the first ever collab with the Stacks. It's not the first ever collab though, ever, right? You've collabed with others. Not
other book club.
Oh, good.
Or
but
book,
regardless,
people in the book space. Yes.
Best ever collab.
Best
period.
ever collab.
Like, obviously for all time.
Yeah. And I can't wait. I can't wait to share it with the world.
I can't wait either. And make sure you listen to the end of the episode to find out next month's book club pick. And everybody else, we will see you in the Stacks. Thank you all so much for listening. And thank you again to Mikey Friedman for joining the show. Here is the announcement for our book club pick for December. It is Friday Night Lights, A Town, a Team, and a Dream by H.G. Bissinger. We will be discussing this book on the very last day of the year, Wednesday, December 31st. Be sure to tune in next week to find out who our guest will be. If you love The Stacks, if you want inside access to it, head to patreon.com/The Stacks to join the Stacks Pack and check out our newsletter at tracythomas.substack.com. Make sure you're subscribed to The Stacks wherever you listen to your podcasts. And if you're listening through Apple Podcasts or Spotify, leave us a rating and a review. For more from The Stacks, follow us on social media at The Stacks Pod on Instagram, Threads, TikTok, and now YouTube. And you can check out our website at thestackspodcast.com. Today's episode was edited by Christian Duenas with production assistance from Sahara Clement. Our graphic designer is Robin McCrite, and our theme music is from Tegirigis. The Stacks is created and produced by me, Tracy Thomas.